ready for a live performance from top band ASF, who've written the music for the new space game, Inferno.
Looks cold out there, doesn't it? I suppose that's because it is. Our main review this week is the long-awaited Super Bomberman 2 on the SNES.
And I'll be cycling down the information superhighway and explaining why you may never have to leave your bedroom ever again.
But first, it's bonfire night on Saturday, so the question on everyone's lips is, as always, what will the weather be like? Well, if you've got a PC, you can now buy a software package that will let you do your own weather forecasts, although it's primarily aimed at schools and colleges because it costs over £1,000. But it does come with a nifty little add-on.
A satellite dish. It receives weather pictures direct from space. Now, first of all, you'd have to point it at the weather satellite up in the sky, which is always in the same position. Now, there are 3 similar satellites fixed around the world, but they do all talk to each other, so we can get pictures from all around the globe, even though we can only see the one from the UK. So if I move this round now, we should be able to see it soon. Yep, that tone means the computer spotted it, and we're online.
OK, so that's the satellite sorted, but weather forecasting is a very complicated business. However, who better to guide us through it than the Michelle Pfeiffer of the weather forecasting world, Sian Lloyd. Hi, welcome to the programme. Do you use a system like this at the Met Office?
Yeah, we use the same basic satellite information. The difference being we use other forecasting tools as well, radar, detailed info from the weather stations. The interesting thing about this is it's infrared information, which, of course, being dark outside at night is an advantage to use it. You can see the Earth's curvature there, and then a great big dirty swirl of cloud. And then you can track all these various weather systems as they sweep across the globe.
OK, well, Violet was talking about the 2 other satellites, and you can look at pictures of all over the world, can't you?
You can, yes.
So you talk us through some of those.
Well, we've got some American pictures here, and look at that finger of cloud stretching all the way across the States, virtually splitting it in 2. We've also got Egypt. Now, that's interesting for us at the moment, because you remember that freak thunderstorm earlier in the week, and you can make out the Nile there. So it's great, we can sort of zoom in on all these places of interest for us.
These are just stills. I mean, when you do the weather, you always say, let's have a look at the satellite sequence.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Have you got a sequence that you can show?
Yes, because an animated sequence is what it's all about. And here we have it. And the great thing about this machine is you can zoom in and out. So let's have a slightly closer view of Britain. There, let's move it across, and we can pick up on, gosh, look at all that out in the Atlantic. Great big swirl developing. OK,
the million-dollar question, the weather for bonfire night will be what?
Well, I'm keeping a careful eye on this. It's looking slightly dodgy. I'll stake the fact it's going to be fairly wet in the east. Yeah. Basically, the further west you go, the drier it's likely to be. Northern Ireland ought to be dry for bonfire.
So that's the place for a good bonfire night,
all go there.
is Northern Ireland. Sian, thanks very much for coming in, and enjoy your bonfire night.
Will do.
In Westwood? No. Marty? No. Yes, Boghouse. Hello, Furtlers. As bonfire night approaches, you're probably thinking, oh, must choose a suitable anorak. Now, I've been looking through my collection, and I've chosen this one. This is my favourite anorak of all time, because it's voice-activated. I'll show you. Right arm, up. Stop. Hey, down. Whoa, up, stop. Oh, you have to be really careful with your commands, Furtlers. Right arm, down, stop. Phew. Now, on with the cheats. This one's for NBA Jam on the SNES, and it lets you play with a dream team. Pick up, slap. Ow, not that hard. Hold controller. You just enter SA and then highlight L, and then when you press L, R and X together, you'll get the dream team with DeVita, who's a super hidden character. And he'll pump up the game like crazy. Whoa, not you. Whoa, down. Oh.
It's freezing out there. Still, a wise decision not to borrow one of Nam's anoraks. Our main review this week is Super Bomberman, which explodes onto the SNES next week, just missing Bonfire Night. As with the original, the aim of the game is to beat the baddies, collect power-ups and make it to the exit. Oh, and watch out for those bombs. Oops, too late. It's most fun played with up to 3 friends on a multi-tap, and if you play in battle mode, you get colour-coordinated bombs to match your outfits. Lovely. Here's Aisha.
This is one of the most enjoyable games ever devised. It's hard to improve upon perfection, but I think this one's even better than the first Bomberman game. This level's really interesting as you can light a furnace which lights the track and kills the enemies easier. It's a lot bigger than the first game as the screen scrolls on many levels. It's also a lot harder. This is the battle mode, which is really the main point of Super Bomberman, as you can play against your friends. It's really sociable. You need really fast reactions for this level though, as you change your speed by running over the circles. It's Brilliantly addictive. If you haven't got the first one, you must get this.
The beauty of this game is you can just pick it up and play, and you'll never get bored of it because no two games are the same.
Everyone loves the Bomberman games. They're fast, colourful and brilliant fun to play.
And the scores for Super Bomberman 2, both the boys and the girls gave it an explosive 4 out of 5. Super Bomberman 2, a great game, and had it been an original, it would have got 5 out of 5. But because it's a sequel, our panel decided to mark it down by 1 and give it 4 out of 5. If you disagree, you're very welcome to drop us a line and let us know what you think. In fact, we're always happy to receive your letters about the programme. And this year, apart from the regular mail, we've also been receiving electronic mail. We're on the CompuServe system, and like all mailing systems, we have an address. Ours is really catchy. It goes as follows: 1000302.1207 @ CompuServe.com. And our PC has got a modem built in. Now, a modem is the bit of kit that allows you to send and receive characters down the telephone line. I'm live on the system at the moment, and I've just been calling up some of the letters that we received recently. This has come from Pete Davidson, who writes, "Hi, we're just writing to say how much we enjoy Bad Influence. We think it's 100 times better than Games Master. Keep making it as good as you are doing so. All the best." Pete Davidson and Mike Airy, thank you for that, guys. You don't have to use this system for just mail, though. You can access whole libraries of information. You can book theatre tickets, airline tickets, holidays. You can even chat to people live all the way around the world. In fact, as Z Right now reports from America, the so-called information superhighway is eventually going to affect us all.
The latest buzz phrase over here is the information superhighway. It's nothing to do with traffic signals and freeway madness. It's the idea that every citizen will one day have access to a massive electronic data bank. It brings together 3 bits of existing technology and uses the plus points of them all. First, the TV. A lot of American homes are on cable, and the cable network can handle massive amounts of data, hundreds of TV channels. But you can't talk back to the TV. It's a one-way street. Next, the telephone. The plus point of the telephone is that it's two-way. Messages can come into the house and go out from the house. But the telephone wires can only cope with a very small amount of information. And finally, the computer. The computer is a very powerful way to store and organize information. Bring them all together, and you've got yourself the beginnings of the information superhighway. It means that you'll never have to leave your bedroom ever again. You'll have access to information on any subject under the sun. All sorts of services will be on offer, including home shopping. This is a system called In the Bag, and it's a virtual shopping mall. You can go into any virtual shop that you fancy. Once inside, you can select goods using a data glove and find out prices and other information. And to buy something, you simply drop it into your virtual shopping bag.
Thank you. Your credit card has been charged.
Another vital service is called Video on Demand. Just like a video you get from the shop, you can fast forward, rewind, and pause at will. And best of all, you don't have to stop watching the vid to order some pizza to go with it. The system relies on massive supercomputers called digital video servers. They can store hundreds of videos and read them out independently to thousands of TVs. All right, that was quick. The information superhighway also lets you play games on demand. This is the headquarters of Sega in America, and they're pioneering the technology that makes it possible to play remote Sonic. You plug an adapter into your Mega Drive, connect it to the cable socket, and away you go. For a monthly fee, you can choose up to 50 hot games and play as much as you want. There's also a special test drive section that lets you try out new games before they hit the shops. The information superhighway will also let you make very high-quality video phone calls.
Z, who are you talking to?
Not now, Mom. I'm busy. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does Z keep his sharp, athletic figure if he never leaves his bedroom? The answer's over here. The world's first virtual exercise bike. There's a choice of courses from the complete Tour de France to this rather pleasant countryside. And there are plans to produce virtual New Yorks and Londons. You steer by going right or left in the seat. As you go faster, you get a headwind from the built-in fan. If you go uphill, it becomes harder to pedal. If you're a competitive type, there's various virtual opponents to race against. Or you can link several machines together and race with your pals. There are even plans to connect virtual bikes to the information superhighway, so you'll be able to have cyber races against opponents from all over the world. But now, a confession. We cheated all that superhighway stuff over there. None of those services actually exist yet, except the pizza delivery. Although some of them should be available on pilot projects at the end of the year. This is Z-Right for Bad Influence, lying somewhere on the information superhighway waiting for a cyber ambulance.
You've been a very naughty anorak. Now stay and stop waving your arms about. Hello, Furlers. I've decided not to wear that anorak, but instead to wear this. It's very special indeed. Watch what happens when I turn it on. On, off, on, off. On. Brilliant! I call it my anorak of invisibility, and it's very appropriate for this next cheat, which is for Alien Breed on the Amiga. All you have to do is log on to the computer and then type in Salman Rushdie plays Alien Breed. Salman Rushdie plays Alien Breed. And then when you start to play, you'll be invisible! Hey, brilliant! Woo! And now, to turn off my anorak of invisibility. Oh no, where's the switch? Oh, where's the switch?
Shame he wasn't wearing an all-over bodysuit. This is Inferno, the latest space simulation game. It's a world of bizarre planets, asteroid fields, desolate space wrecks and psychotic space warriors. Not for the first time in a game, the entire fate of civilization rests on your shoulders, or should that be your mouse, as you defend the universe of Inferno from the evil Rexon Empire. And there's a lot of good graphics and cinematic effects, but when you've finished the 700 missions, what else is so exciting about it? Well, the music, for one thing. It's the first time that music commissioned for a game has been released separately on a CD. It was written and performed by the legendary band ASF, and Chris from the band is with Violet now.
Yep, I'm here with Mrs. Fiend. So, where did you start?
Well, we had a list of 17 songs, a different song for each of the scenarios in the game. Some of it was gameplay, where you'd be flying around planets, moons in space, and some of it was theme tunes, one for the humans and one for the aliens.
We've got a picture of the aliens here.
This is all that we had to start with. This is the Emperor and this is his sidekick. They're green, actually, so they're quite menacing looking, and we had to come up with a menacing theme tune for them. So something like this. It's completely the wrong sound and no good at all, far too twee. So we found this one, which is much better, and it immediately sounds like there's something
really
coming
menacing
for you, and we wrote this theme for them. As you can hear, it sounds like
the alien's gonna get you.
Something's happening. So you as the hero in your spaceship are going to be chased by these people, so you're in enemy territory. And so we wanted a chase feel, which we got from this kind of bass line. Can you hear?
Same notes?
Same sort of notes as on the theme itself, but they can feel that something's coming for you. And we doubled it up and things make it a bit more exciting.
So when you had all these themes, how did you put them together?
Well, what we did was we then sequenced them all onto an Amiga sequencer here. The aliens.
Oh, and you can see it.
Each of these tracks here is like a different sound.
The chase noise coming up.
And it's rolling away. A few of the hissing sounds in the background. If you've noticed, the baddie tune, the alien actual theme, has disappeared, so that you're not going to get bored with it while you're playing the game. That's the key change in the end, so that it changes on this end part.
The voices come in.
The choirs are all in. You've got drums, you've got clanking, everything's building and building.
Brilliant, thanks for showing us that. And the game and the music CD will be in the shops next week, but if you can't wait until then, hang around, because ASF will be playing us out at the end of the show. Now for this week's news and previews.
Two of this year's big action movies are being developed for release on console. True Lies is an overhead game with all your favourite bits from the film, including some stunning stunts with a Harrier jump jet. It's due out on SNES, Mega Drive, Game Gear and Game Boy next February. And this is a scene from Stargate. The film's just been released in America, but we'll have to wait until after Christmas to see the movie and the finished game.
Stand by for the latest Super Effects chip game, Vortex, for the SNES. It's a 3D game which gives you complete 360-degree movement on all levels. You get to pilot various crafts, including this Walker, in your quest to annihilate aliens. Full review in a couple of weeks.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a stealth bomber? No, in fact, it's none of these. It's the latest PC keyboard. The makers say it's designed to bring you comfortable computing. The keys are laid out to fall naturally under your fingertips, and there's a built-in wrist rest. It looks pretty funky too, but it'll set you back an unfashionable 70-odd quid. And now for some more games reviews. Super Stardust is a new game for the Amiga and CD32 based on that old classic Asteroids. As usual, there's a silly story involving princesses and evil professors, but basically it's a space shoot-'em-up like they used to make in the good old days. Here's Lakesh with the Amiga version.
It's a nice-looking action-packed game, but the fancy graphics can't hide the rather thin gameplay. Sometimes simple ideas don't work, and that's the case here. There's no variation in gameplay. It's like a souped-up PD game. The graphics and sound are excellent, though. There are 4 tunnel sequences, and although they look spectacular, they're a real dog to play. How could you have avoided that? You may have picked up many lives over the past few levels, but you'll lose them all here. There's nothing really wrong with the game, but again, there's nothing really special about it. If you want to reminisce over the old days, go out and buy a public domain game for £1.
I think this is really stupid. You just shoot rocks. You shoot big rocks and little rocks, and it gets really tedious.
I really like this. It's Asteroids with an extra dimension. This will definitely appeal to shoot-'em-up fans.
Super Stardust is obviously a game you either love or hate. After fierce debate, the scores averaged out at 3 out of 5 from both the boys and the girls.
He's not just a basketball superstar, oh no. The multi-talented Shaquille O'Neal is also a Kung Fu black belt. And he performed all his own stunts for this new game. Shaq Fu on the Mega Drive and SNES, and due out soon on the Amiga. It's a one-on-one beat-em-up with loads of baddies and sackfuls of special moves. Oh, and by the way, you need a 6-button joypad to get the most out of this game. 3 buttons for kicking and 3 for punching. Here's Paul with the Mega Drive version.
It's a really good effort to beat 'em up. The only problem is the sprites are a bit too small. In the duel part, you don't have to play as Shaq, you can play as one of the other characters. I'm playing Voodoo the Woman against Orok. Each character has their own 2 special moves. Mine's to turn into a wolf. Brilliant, got it. Also, each character has a provoking move. Mine laughs in the face like that. This is the bit called the story. It gives the background information on Shaq and why he has to fight. This is the map. This is how I get to my next location for my fight. In the story, you have to play Shaq. He's not actually a very good character. I'd rather play one of the others. This game should give the other beat-em-ups a run for their money. It's excellent.
It's a great game, but it seems a bit daft having a basketball player in a beat-em-up.
What a waste. It's got all these fantastic special moves, but you need brilliant eyesight to see them.
It seems that Shaq Fu has plenty of martial, but perhaps not quite enough art. It gets 4s all round.
I finally decided to wear this anorak. It's particularly good for cold nights because it's got its own inbuilt electric heater. Wahey! Oh, lovely. And here's a really hot cheat for Cool Spot on the Mega Drive. On the options screen, press AABBCCCCBB AAAABBCC, and you get a flattering picture of the programmer, my mate Dave Perry, and also a secret cheat option menu, which gives you infinite lives and lets you start on whatever level you like. There we go. Oh no! Not another faulty anorak! Help! Help! Fire! Andy! Violet! Anybody!
Last week's competition prize was a Mega Drive and a game of Dynamite Heady. We asked you who invented dynamite. The answer was Alfred Nobel, who also lent his name to the Nobel Prize. We had nearly 10,000 entries, but the lucky winner was Katie Whitemark from London. Well done. 10 runners-up get Bad Influence Best and Sleep T-shirts.
This week's competition prize is a SNES with Super Bomberman 2, and the question is, in which country were fireworks originally invented? Which country were fireworks originally invented? Phone in your answer on 0891 555 999, 0891 555 999. Call will cost you no more than 25p. The line's stay open to midnight on Monday. And as ever, get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you dial. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the programme. See you next week. Have a happy and safe bonfire night. Bye!